By the time this video is released, I will already be in New Zealand, but right now, I'm not getting on the plane until tomorrow evening, and I'm so excited to go back that I can hardly think straight. Everyone, this is Hey Johanna. So as I've just said, I'm getting on a plane tomorrow and I don't have much time to do this video, so it got me thinking I should probably do something simple, something I'm comfortable with, something I already know how to do well. I've been thinking so much about how soon I'm going to be back home, seeing my family and seeing my country, so I thought, why not film myself doing a portrait of one of my friends using my alcohol markers? So that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'll be using this marker paper, which I found from an art store in Sweden. I'll also be using my Winsor & Newton markers and my Copics. I've spoken quite a bit about these markers in previous videos, so I won't go into that today. Instead, let's just get straight to the drawing. So I started the sketch using my tabletop easel. For some reason, I draw heads and eyes absolutely enormous when I draw portraits, and I'm trying really hard to stop and keep everything in proportion. And my desktop easel really helps with that, as it helps me view the piece as it will actually be seen instead of at an angle. I much prefer sketching like this, but it does take a little while to get used to. So what you can see me doing right now is trying to size the eyes right. In my style, the eyes are supposed to be big anyway, but sometimes they just come out freaking Powerpuff Girls big. So it helps for me to draw a circle and imagine that is the eyeball, and then draw the lid and everything around that. So something to keep in mind is that the gap between eyes is usually one eye length, and that's why I drew the middle circle in there as well, so I could kind of visualize that. This portrait is of a good friend of mine called Kelly. She lives in New Zealand, and I've been away from New Zealand for nearly 2 years now, so it's been a while since I've seen her and everyone else. I met Kels when I was 17 at my first ever job working in a cafe, and she became like my big sister immediately, even though she's only like 3 years older than me. Oh, we used to have so much fun at that cafe together. We were just two sassy young people serving coffee to suits every day and laughing about how we would never be in desk jobs. I really miss those times, and this portrait brought back a lot of memories. So I know you can probably hardly see this right now because it's so light, but I've just run my kneaded eraser just ever so slightly over this and picked up most of the graphite and left a really light sketch underneath. And the reason I've done this is because there was lots of construction lines and lots of sketchy business going on, and I've just taken most of that stuff away. I'm just left with the strongest lines, and I can use that as a base to build on and do a better, more rendered sketch. This portrait actually took me longer than I was expecting it to, because I was really nervous about doing it well and making it look actually like Kelly, because I intend to give this piece to her. I spent nearly an hour before this drawing looking through Kelly's Facebook photos, her Instagram, my Facebook photos to try and find references of her. And instead of using just one, I combined several and created a pose that I could see her in. Also, the amount of times I've seen this look on her face with one eyebrow cocked up looking at me like, what are you doing? Or what the fuck is that customer doing? So I just had to do it. Speaking of her eyebrows, Kelly is one of those people who has flawless eyebrows just always. I don't know how she does it, but I was so nervous to get those looking right. Like, I struggle to draw them, and I've had years of practice in art. The girl does that on her face every day. So you may have noticed the flower crown. I feel like I need to explain myself a little bit. I could have done that flower crown so much better and had it look natural and lush and full, but I decided to give her a flower crown because of the amount of times she would Snapchat me with this filter. So I was trying really hard to recreate what the Snapchat flower crown looks like, and yeah, it's not my favorite element of the piece, but it does look like the Snapchat filter, so, you know, all's well, I guess. Also, I decided for the first time ever to use colored pencils to line the hair instead of black. I wanted her hair to be an ombre from like really blonde at the tips to her darkish brown hair color, and if I had lined it with black, then it would have stuck out weirdly against the blonde and just looked all weird and gross and unnatural. And I had no idea if that was going to work or not, if the markers would mix weird with the colored pencils, and I just decided to test it out, and it was fine in the end, but that was just kind of a risk that I decided to take on this drawing for the first time ever. So choosing her skin tone was actually really difficult because I couldn't remember if Kelly has a yellow undertone or a pink undertone or what. I think her skin is slightly darker than mine, but not by much. And the photos I had as references were all just giving me different answers, so I kind of went for a similar tone to mine and slightly browned the shadows a little bit. So you'll notice me avoiding the eyebrows for just far too long, and she looks horrifying without them, but I wanted the eyebrows to be perfect and I wasn't certain how I wanted to do them, so I put it off until I couldn't any longer and then went in with this warm grey kind of colour. I actually didn't film this, but later on I go in with my Prismacolor pencils and add sort of hairs to the eyebrows, and it makes it look so good. So Kel's always wore this deep, intense lipstick, which I loved so, so much. She had this one, which was a deep, pinky, winey, maroon kind of color. It was from MAC called Rebel, and I liked it so much I went and bought it. And it's like my favorite color of lipstick now. I think I've gone through 2 and I'm on my 3rd, and I never wear lipstick anymore. It just reminds me of her so much whenever I wear it. So how could I not put that color on her lips in this drawing? So back in the day when Kelly and I worked together, I had this brown oversized faux suede coat that I loved. It was actually my dad's that I stole from his wardrobe. Anyway, I used to wear it to work every single day, and Kelly also loved it. She honestly would wear it more than me. And I mean, it was oversized on me, but it was like a tarpaulin on her because she's just quite little, and I wanted to draw her in that, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. You know, I'm not that confident in drawing clothing without references, so I just put her in this little grey sweater thing that she used to wear. I actually promised Kelly that she could have that brown coat one day. I only just remembered that. Anyway, back to the drawing. My favourite part of these portraits is when I get to go in with my white gel pen and add in the little highlights to the eyes. I feel like as soon as I've done that, it's just like, bam, you know, she's alive. Her eyes just start sparkling, and oh, this is so pretty. I also used a brown fine liner to go in and add some hair strands, and then of course classic Holly. I drew a big circle in the background and filled it in with a lovely pale pink colour just to finish the drawing off. So here's the finished portrait. I'm pretty happy with it, and I really hope that Kelly loves it. So this piece ended up taking me 2.5 hours from start to finish, and I do feel like I was a little bit rushed, but it still turned out really good, and it actually does look like her, like quite a bit. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm gonna go pack my bag now and start preparing for 23.5 hours of flying. Yeah, that'll be fun. Kia ora everyone, have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you next time. Bye!